Hi guys, today we're going to talk about Project 4, the Formatting Analysis Memo. This is the one that causes the most headaches to my students, has the most errors and the most problems, so please pay attention to what I'm telling you in this video to help you understand what I expect on the project. As usual, I have not only this video, but also where you can look in the book for some more information, some research and memo writing resources, prior student work samples, as well as one that I created myself. Again, the instructions for this are very long and very detailed, but if you do it right, your final product will be between 2 and 3 pages, maybe more if you have some images in there as well, which are not required for this project. So let's get into it. What am I looking for in the Formatting Analysis Memo? So this assignment is designed to create a memo to those who may want to write something for a certain research journal later on in life, and it's to tell them how to format things for that journal. So let's think about this a little bit. When you are in an English class, your teacher tells you to write an essay in MLA style or APA style or CSE style or whatever the case may be. Similarly, when you publish academic work in a peer-reviewed, respected journal, you need to format things according to that journal's wishes. Now, some journals make it easy on you and they provide a style guide, but not all of them do. So the best way to know how to format your work before you submit it to them for publication is to examine what their formatting looks like. For this memo, you're going to look at 2 different articles from the same publication, and then you're going to tell me how they do their formatting. It's allowing you to look within your scholarly discourse community, the field that you are going into as you get done with school and graduate, and to know if you write in that field, how you need to write. You are going to do this research, look at these articles, and then address a memo to future writers. So really this is sort of 2 assignments in one. One is to research and find out what the formatting is. The other is to create a memo that you have to format like a memo, not like an essay, not like a submission to the magazine or the journal rather, but like a memo, which is the second part and what we're doing for technical writing. So the first thing you need to do is identify a leading scholarly journal in your field. So for example, if you are going into psychology, the American Journal of Psychology is probably a good one to look at. And so if you have something that interests you or something you want to know more about anyway, then go ahead and pull up an article based on something that you're interested in. Look in the library, click on databases. You can click on Ask a Librarian if you need some help, but they'll help you find that. So find a journal, find an article that you like. And then you're going to find a second article. Now, the second article does not need to cover the same topic. It just needs to be from the same journal. Do not choose an article on the same topic because it will drive you crazy trying to find another one that's also in the same journal. Do not choose 2 articles that are from different journals. You must choose 2 from the same journal. The articles that you choose need to be at least 4 pages long, and they have to be research. I'm not looking for an opinion piece. I'm not looking for an editorial. I need it to be fact-based and probably to have resources and references as well. It can't be a book review, which usually they're not long enough to meet the qualifications anyway, but it can't be a book review talking about something that someone else wrote. Remember that, again, the article topics can be completely different. You could have one about potty training children and another one about LGBTQIA harassment in schools. Or you could have one about the benefits of cooking in dehydrogenated oils, and another that is about the culinary schools of the world and which is best, as long as they come from the same journal. Now, from there, you need to create a memo template, or you can come up with a memo of your own. And the header has to have specific parts. You have to have a to, who it's to, not me. You have to have a CC, who else would be interested in this information. You have to have from, and this is where you put your name, and date. You're going to use the assignment due date. And then RE means regarding, and so this would be like the title if it was the title of your paper. Do not call it Formatting Analysis Memo. Okay, this is something that is going to be informational to make sure that your reader knows what it is they're getting into when they read this. So in the body of your memo, you're going to analyze both of these articles following these guidelines below. When you analyze these articles, you're going to make sure that you use the same subtitles that I've put here. Okay, so be sure if you have any quotes directly that you follow the citation style of your discipline, MLA, Chicago, APA, CSE, IEEE, whatever it is that you're using, use that style for your own citations, even if the journal that you're writing about does not use that style of citation. All right, so the first section you'll have is your introduction, and this is where you'll talk about the article. You will name the article and list the names of the authors and when it was published and briefly discuss it. And I mean briefly. I don't want a lengthy, detailed analysis here. I want a very, very short paragraph that says what it covers. In the second paragraph, you're going to introduce your second article, and again, the author's names and the date of publication, and briefly discussing what it's about. If you are pulling two articles from the same year, make sure you include the issue number because it cannot be the same issue. Okay. After that, you're going to go into a more detailed analysis of Article 1. So your next title or section header will be Article 1, Intended Audience. And so you will list here who it is that this article was originally written for. Other scholars in the field, people who are interested in robotics, people who are looking for the culinary school of their dreams. What is the purpose? These are some questions to help you decide who that audience is. But again, you do not have to answer every single one of these in a bulleted list format. The next part will be description of the author or authors. This is going to be hard, especially for scientific journals and things like that, because you may not be able to find out much about these people. You may be able to find nothing more than Joe Smith is a professor at MIT, and that's okay. That may be all you can get. But do look around, dig into Google a bit, look on the websites of the colleges they're associated with, see if you can find anything else interesting about them. For example, Dr. Klett's field of study is dramatics and Shakespeare and women and so forth. So just pick something that goes well, that describes them at least a little bit so we know who wrote the articles. The next thing that you're going to look at is the formatting of the text. And this is literally about what it looks like on the page. Is it Times New Roman? Is it, if you can't figure out the exact font, is it a serif font or a sans serif font? Is it large print? Is it small print? Does it have very, very large margins? Does it have very tiny margins? Is it in columns? How is it formatted on the page? Do they have little excerpts that have quotes pulled out like you sometimes see in magazines? Are there subtitles? Are those in a larger font or a different font? Are they bolded, underlined, italicized? What about the word choice? Are they using lots of very technical mumbo jumbo, or are they bringing it down to the level of the quote unquote common man? Are the sentences very long and drawn out, or are they short and clipped? How many paragraphs, how long? So you're really looking at actually how it's laid out on the page and how they used language in it. Then you're going to have the same sections for the second article. So Article 2's intended audience, Article 2's description of the author, Article 2's formatting of the text. And then the next section you'll have is results. So when you were doing this study between these two pieces, Did you find similarities or distinct differences? If you have two articles from the same journal from within a few years of each other, they're probably going to not have very many differences. But what if you found one from 15 years ago and one from last year? They may look very different because the company may have changed their requirements. And then your conclusion is, what did you learn about your scholarly discourse community? What did you learn about how people in your discipline communicate with one another when it's important ideas that get published in peer-reviewed journals? And then, of course, lastly, you'll need works cited or references, depending on which style you're using. Some tips for success here: no matter what documentation format you use, no matter what it normally calls for, if you are doing a direct quote, I need a page number. So normally when you use APA, you can just do the last name and the year. If it's a direct quote, some teachers want you to put the page number. I do for this part. If your memo is only 2 pages long, make sure you've given enough examples to provide your claims. If your memo is 7 or 8 pages long, make sure you haven't gone into too much detail. You need to give examples of formatting. You can include images. Just make sure that you mark them up properly. And again, there's no minimum page length. It will likely be quite lengthy. But again, it really just depends on you and how deep you dive and how much you do. For example, if you do an article that had 14 authors, then that section's going to be pretty long, even if you're only writing one sentence about each person, and that will necessarily lengthen your entire memo. If you write something where the article was written by one person, then the about the author section is going to be very, very short, and therefore your entire memo will be shorter. So again, you're not looking to summarize the article. Do not summarize the article in any of these sections. You're going to tell me what it's about, yes, but you're not going to go through a whole full-length summary. So use these questions to keep you on track, to stay focused, to keep your formatting right. And again, this is probably the hardest project we'll do, just because it's confusing with the multiple different angles you're looking at here. Just make sure, again, that you're not focusing on the articles, you're focusing on the formatting of the articles. Don't forget to turn everything in on EduFlow when you are supposed to, and make sure that you turn your final project in the Submit Assignments tab when it's done. And lastly, make sure everything is in PDF format. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to help in any way I can.